Self-worth, a very common topic of discussion around humanity, around life. It depicts a lot. It depicts everything. It depicts how we feel about ourselves and what we allow ourselves to have, our deserving levels, and so much more. So we're going to really get into it. But first, what we have to talk about is, what is self-worth? Self-worth is your internal value. Now, of course, this is decided upon the beholder, and this is decided about yourself. But if your self-worth is your internal value, what you believe your true value and your inner value is, then this causes a big block when it comes to money. Why? Because if you watch my other videos, you know that what is money? Money is the exchange of value. So, money has replaced barter and exchange. It is simply a tool or resource to exchange value. So, what do we see here? If your self-worth is low, it may bleed into your finances, especially if you have a low financial self-worth, or a low financial self-concept is the verbiage that I typically use. And what we really want to talk about in this video is how to increase your self-worth, because if money is the exchange of value, then we're going to want to know our true value. We're going to want to increase our perception of our internal value. And how is it that we do that? Let's get into it. Self-worth is depicted on many things. A few things that we're going to talk about here in this video. One is going to be, for my fellow people pleasers, how you let others treat you. How often, if you do or if you don't, do you do what you say you're going to do? Okay. Who you surround yourself with? Perfectionism. Who you surround yourself with. Energy is contagious. Very important one. How you talk to yourself. We're just going to put self-talk. No need to write all that out. Self-talk. How you take care of yourself. Okay, so as you can see, there's a common theme here. The theme is how you treat yourself and how you allow others to treat you is really going to depict your self-worth. So let's break these down. We'll switch colors. Blue. How you let others treat you. Okay. This one I feel very passionately about, because I have not let people always treat me well as well. We all get wrapped up into it. It comes from our upbringing, what we were taught, and what the standard is. Everybody's standard is different as to how they allow people to treat themselves because of what they grew up around and the examples that were set. How you let others treat you. Now, if you allow others to treat you poorly, and this is going to be a hard one to take in, because if you allow others to treat you poorly or talk to you poorly, then that sends your brain a message as to what you allow in your system. And that is constantly sending your brain a message as to how worthy you are. Now, this does not put aside family members, and it does not put aside the people that are close to you. If you let your partner in your relationship treat you poorly and talk to you poorly and ignore you or handle situations poorly instead of with kindness and love, then we need to remember the map of consciousness. We need to remember what low vibrating emotions like shame, guilt, grief, anger, anxiety. What else do we have here? You can see it on the chart. I'll pull up the chart. There's more. And then on this side, we will put joy, love, courage. And this is going to be a really great guideline for you because it's going to be so helpful because your emotions are what create your reality. So if you want to grow and expand out of your current capacity, you're going to have to shift emotions. You're going to have to understand emotions. This is stuff people don't teach you. I'm going to teach you here. Of course, if you read the book by David Hawkins, Letting Go, then you'll learn more about emotions. Joy, love, courage, acceptance. Let's see. Enlightenment. Reason, and there more, but you'll see it on the chart. Okay, so let's talk about the people that are in your life. Now, the people that are in your life, are they making you feel shameful for things that you've done? Are they making you feel shame about how you show up? Are they making you feel guilty? I know this a lot. I have one client in particular. Actually, I have a few clients that this happens with where their parents are constantly projecting, so they make them feel guilty and try to like pull them down or make them feel guilty for not spending enough time with them, for doing this, or for living their own life. Or even another one of my clients, whenever she makes more money, she has an aversion to making more money because every time she makes more money, her parents try to make her feel guilty for not giving it to them. So, do some people make you feel guilty? Do they make you feel grief? Do they make you feel sadness? Do they make you feel anger or anxious? And starting to pay attention to those emotions in your body because this is really what's going to shift your self-worth. Okay, so we're talking about your partner, we're talking about anybody who's close to you, those 5 closest people. Like it's a real rule, like it's a real thing. 5 closest people to you in your life, that means the people that you talk to the most, could be your family, could be your friends, could be your relationship partner. Or do they make you feel joy? Do they make you feel loved? Do they make you feel courageous to take action? They support you in your growth? Do they make you feel accepted? Do they accept you and love you for who you are? Enlightenment, that's a unique one, but reason, do they like to talk about wisdom with you? Do they like to help? Do they also see the world similarly as you, right? So these are all the emotions that we want to move towards because they're high vibrating emotions and they're emotions that send our system a positive message about how we feel about ourselves. So really, we want people who make us feel good. We want people who lift us up. We want people who are kind and are loving. We don't really want to be around people who make us feel shame, guilt, grief, and all of that stuff because what happens is those emotions will drag us down. We wonder why we're not motivated. We wonder why we can't take action. We're wondering why we don't feel good about ourselves. We wonder why we don't take care of ourselves and we don't stay on our routines. It's because we're bogged down by these low vibrating emotions, which is bringing down our energy system. Whereas like this has high vibrations. So it brings up our energy system. It gives us motivation. It pushes us forward. So you catch my drift. So how you let others treat you should lean to the right. And nobody's perfect, right? But having the kind, conscious conversations and communication, something we work on a lot in one-on-one because of how strongly it hits self-worth, and your self-worth really determines a lot about your success, about your growth, about your ability to be loved and even healthy, a lot of things. So we really want to work on communicating well with others. So that means you need to communicate well with others too, but also how others communicate with you because it's a matter of self-worth and how someone's going to feel about themselves and how you feel about yourself. Moving on to do what you say you're going to do. So every time you don't do what you say you're going to do, you just sent your brain a message that you're a liar, that you're not consistent, that you don't care about whatever it is that you had on your mind to do. I said I was going to go to the gym this morning, okay? I lied to myself and I don't care. I'm sending my brain a message. I don't care about my health. I don't care about my fitness. And then I end up getting mad at myself and we end up in this like these layers of just like it's like the first thing is no, we're not even going to go there yet. Let's stay here before I get sidetracked. So do you do what you say you're going to do? Can you trust yourself? This one's huge because it impacts your self-love, self-trust, and your self-confidence. Because every time you don't do what you say you're going to do, you just sent your brain that message. Like, I don't trust myself. I don't trust who I am. What does that impact your self-worth? Just like if your partner or your best friend or your parent or somebody said, I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to show up with you. And they don't do it, you don't trust them. And what does that impact? Your self-worth. And so every time somebody doesn't do what they say they're going to do, they lied to you. And that makes you feel like, why would somebody lie to me? Do they not love me? Do they not care about me? Same way that you feel about yourself. Why did I just lie to myself? I can't trust myself. I'm not kind to myself. I'm not loving to myself. So you see where you don't do what you say you're going to do, you're going to be bogged down with the shame, guilt, grief, anger, anxiety, and all of those other emotions that are low vibrating. Versus when you do what you say you're going to do, how exciting is that? I just did the morning routine of my life this morning. I feel great. Why? Because I woke up and I did all of the things that I said I was going to do. I had the courage to get up and do all of the things, to stand in front of this camera. Like, even just the little things in life, we don't understand how those impact our system, our vibrations, and how we feel about ourselves and our emotions. As the emotions are the language of the subconscious. Your emotions and how you feel about yourself, the emotions and how you feel about money and how you feel about working out, how you feel about everything is what's going to determine your relationship with it. And so self-worth is highly impacted by your relationship with self. And if you're God-centered like myself, your relationship with God, because God is in you and the Holy Spirit and, you know, all of that relationship, because you really are God and an image of God. So relationship with self is what we're going to call it. And next one, who you surround yourself with. Okay, really big deal, because obviously who you surround yourself with, you're surrounded by communication, you're surrounded by vibrations, and you've got to ask yourself, which vibrations are these people living in? And are they leaning more towards the higher vibrations and they're moving towards growth and they're moving towards courage and joy and love and practicing that? Or are they leaning more towards victim mentality, grief, lack? And that's going to depict your, first of all, it's a reflection of how you feel inside of yourself, because that's what life does. It constantly shows us reflections to help us grow and help us move. Thank God. Thank God that those messages are constantly being sent to us so that we can use it as direction as to where to go. And when you're sitting in every single time, even when I sit in front of a client, I say, what is this a reflection of? What direction is this trying to give me? Every time I meet a new friend, okay, what is this? What is direction is this trying to give me? What is this trying to show me? Because the world is a mirror for how we can ascend. So if you're surrounding yourself with people that you don't really want to be like, or that you don't look up to, or that you're not motivated by, one, you may have an ego thing going on, which is you like to feel big around small people. It makes you feel good to be the most successful person in the room or the best person in the room. Or you're bogged down with victim mentality or a lack mentality or whatever it is if you're hanging out over here. But if you're hanging out over here and you're looking towards growth and you're around growth-minded people, it's going to make a big difference in your self-worth, in your desire to grow, in your capacity. Next one is self-talk. How you speak to yourself, we already pretty much touched on this, but how you speak to yourself is how you feel about yourself. And it's so funny, I caught myself the other day. I think it was yesterday I was doing it. And I was talking to my friend about it. And I said, I'm just so upset that I made this mistake. And she's like, well, Did you ask for forgiveness? Did you forgive yourself? I said, I feel like I did. Yeah, but like, I'm still so mad it happened. She's like, that's not love. It's not love. It's anger. And that's the difference. Do you speak to yourself with love? You made a mistake. You know what? It's okay. You're going to be better next time. You've got this. Keep going. And it's good that you made that mistake, learn from it, and you see that, and you're not happy about it because it's going to make you grow and it's going to make you a better person. So remember how much that hurt, but choose love. Choose to talk to yourself with love. Choose courage. Choose to try again. I was so scared to try this certain situation again because I'm like, I just keep making the same mistake. But she said, that's not courage. That's not love. And it's true. It's shame. It's anger. I was bogged down by shame of making X amount of mistakes. I was upset with myself and angry with myself. And that was how I was talking to myself about it. And it created this other layer. One, okay, the mistake was already made, but then I added another layer to it of anger and resentment that was just pulsating around it and causing my jaw to tense up. It was causing, that's probably why I feel so good today, because I like last night really let it go. Talked to God about it, released it. I worked through it. I felt the emotions. And then I came back to a place of love, joy, courage, and that's it. I do not expect you to live here all of the time. I expect you to visit here though. So here's the thing. This is home. This is what we want to be home. But this is somewhere, I don't even know we'll just do a box. This is somewhere you're going to have to visit. I had to visit that anger and that shame because if I didn't feel that, I probably would do that mistake again over and over because there was no repercussions internally. And that's what they say, like, you're not being punished by God. Like the sin is the punishment. And it's true. Like when I made the mistake, I felt the shame and the anger and I didn't want to feel that again. But in order to move through it, I had to feel it. I had to let it go. I had to give it up to God. And then I had to come back to a place of love and joy. This is my home. This is where I live. This is where I visit. And that's what I really want you to think of it as, because I do not want to ever push this toxic positivity of just try to force yourself here. Like that's where narcissism is birthed and all of this other mental stuff going on. Like it just trying to push yourself into this toxic positivity and fake like reality. When the reality is we are human beings with emotions and we have to learn how to manage them. And so if we learn how to manage them, what we do is we visit the really hard emotions and we go through it, and some last longer than others. If you have a really painful situation come up in your life, you might end up staying over here for a while until you can get back there. And that's okay. That's gotta have to be okay. But you want to come back and meet yourself with love. You want to come back and meet yourself with kindness and acceptance. And you want to root for yourself because it's just so important that how you talk to yourself and how that relationship is with yourself and how you are with yourself is a determining factor of your self-worth and how you feel about yourself. And for those of you who did not get parented the way that you would actually like to be treated, there's going to be more work involved here. There's going to be more work involved. Something we really do a lot in one-on-one coaching is learning how to treat yourself kindly because nobody else did. Growing up, we didn't get treated the way that we would have liked to, and now we're stuck in these constant patterns and cycles that we don't even know that we're attracting and seeking out other humans that treat us like that just to keep us in our comfort zone. But there is change. It's possible. It says it in every book. You hear people's stories. I'm a testimony of it. Like, gosh, I did not grow up in a healthy environment. It's unfortunate, but I stopped at nothing to learn how to change just the trajectory of my life and how I feel, but my kids, kids, and their kids, because I care. I care about not just the life I'm living, but how I show up and the purpose I'm making in this world and the purpose for the future. Because if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to leave the world better than how I found it, at least my world, because that's the best I can do. And that's why I teach this stuff. so that maybe this will click with you. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. How you take care of yourself. Okay. Best way I can give you this example is I like to cook. I like to cook really healthy food. And when I care about somebody, I like to cook them good food because I really want them nourished. I want them well fed. I want them to feel the pleasure of delicious homemade food that's hot and yummy. And that's just how I show love to others. And so I'll cook them a meal. And I know that if somebody were to look at me and be like, not very grateful about it, they're like, eh. I'm like, how is it? I'm Italian. Like, I need to know, like, how was the food? And they're like, yeah, it was okay. I'm like, I'm not cooking for this person again. Or if they're not kind to me, I don't want to cook for you at all. I don't want to take care of you. I don't want to nourish your body. Like, I don't want to do any of that. Like, go find your own way. Like, so you see what I mean is like when somebody is not kind to you or somebody you don't trust somebody, I don't even want to be their friend. Like, you're probably not even making it anywhere near my kitchen if they're not being a good friend or a good person or kind, and I don't trust them and I don't love them. It's kind of, you see this a lot when people are in relationships. Like, it starts off so great doing things for one another, but then this resentment's built and this anger is built. They're not treating each other very well anymore. They stop doing the nice things for each other. That's kind of how it shows up. Now think about it, how you do that for yourself. Do you take the time to, I remember a point in my life where I wasn't very happy with where I was at. I was letting money master my life, really. I was getting really wrapped up in at outsourcing my self-worth for other things. And so I wasn't cooking food for myself. And it wasn't good for, I was going out to eat a lot. I wasn't really making it to the gym. I wasn't hanging out with good people. Like, and that's because I wasn't taking, I didn't want to take care of myself because I didn't feel good about myself. And so when you do start to make that shift and you do start to take care of yourself, when you do start to go to the gym, exercise, right? Healthy food, self-care, talking, that was a big one for me. Was I love doing self-care. I love doing my facial massages and having my face oils and doing all of those little things because it's me time. It's time with me. It's more than just applying face oil so that my skin is moisturized. It is the intentional time with myself that I take to nourish my body because I care about myself. It's the intentional time that I take to cook foods and to look up good recipes so I enjoy it and I nourish my body because I care about myself. It's the intentional time that I take to make space in my morning routine to go to the gym and do a good workout so that I can take care of myself because I care about myself. See how this stuff sends your brain a message that I care about you. I care about you, Lauren. When I go to the gym, when I eat healthy food, when I choose healthy partners and healthy friendships, when I go to work and I service the world because that's what I like to do. Like, when I do the things that I like and I don't hang out with people that I don't like just because of people pleasing, all of these things. When you do that, you send your brain such a powerful message. I care about you. I care. And for some of us, if you grew up in a place where you didn't feel cared for, this might be a tough one for you because it's all going to root back to trauma. It's all going to root back to childhood stuff. And you've got to find that origin story where maybe you didn't feel cared for. And now you keep trying to get cared for in the wrong ways, right? That happens for a lot of us. It can show up in like victim mentality, or even like I had all these diet restrictions and I didn't realize that I kind of kept myself stuck there after I didn't really have to. Like, I'd been working on my diet restrictions and working on being able to eat like dairy and other things, and through healing trauma, like it really, that all shifted. But I kind of still kept myself stuck there because it felt nice that I could ask for things and people would make accommodations for me. It felt nice that I was taken on a date and somebody considered like, okay, you have these allergies. It felt nice when I went to the restaurant And I said, like, I have a dairy allergy, and they made these considerations for me. And I was keeping myself stuck there. There was these payoffs to this victim mentality. There's these payoffs there. And you've got to really look at like where you're keeping yourself stuck and how you can start to just consider yourself and give that to yourself. And, this is what they mean when they say that, like, love yourself, consider yourself, stop reaching outside of yourself. And let's go there. I want to keep these emotions up, but let's go there. We want to stop reaching outside of ourselves to get all of our needs met, because it's not that simple. You're going to have to really sit with yourself and work on that relationship with yourself. Repenting for all of the wrong that you did is a major part. When I say repenting, it's set me free in many ways, because I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, as any human. And that's the process of letting go. So let's talk about that. Letting go. Because in order to, you know what? Here we are. Little neutral guy. Okay. Here's what we do. Self-worth. Wow, I don't know why I did that. Okay. Here's what we do. We outsource our self-worth to others' opinions, what others can do for us. Let's see. Validation. Acceptance. I have done it a lot with money. Many do it with money. Success. Looks. What else? Let's do one more. Money, success, looks, let's say status. Okay. Now, in here is your self-worth. There we go. So there is your self-worth. And now what happens when you continually outsource it to other people's opinions? Well, first of all, you give all your power away about how you feel and think about yourself. You're giving it away to others. You're literally saying, like, okay, how I feel and think about myself relies on you and your opinion. I mean, that's tough. That's a really tough one, especially because there's so many people looking out different lenses we don't even understand. I had a conversation with a one-on-one client this morning, and he was talking about how clients complain to him about like the work that he does. And he runs a company in construction, and he was saying that like clients will complain, and we talked about how they're looking through different lenses. They've been screwed over in the past. They've had money stolen from them in the past, potentially. Like, we don't really know their story. And if you let their opinions affect your worth and your inner value, be depicted on what other people are going to say, you give it to them, then what? Then what do you have? Okay, what others can do for us. Okay, not everybody's going to want to do things for us. And we keep trying to find people to do things for us and do things for us. And we wonder why we keep jumping from relationship to relationship, or we keep trying to find this person do this, and it's never enough. And we try to make us feel taken care of, maybe because of how we felt growing up and we didn't feel taken care of. Who knows what the story could be, but that's up to you to understand and look for that origin story and really heal through that for yourself. But what others can do for us. And it was even like me, like, how can people consider me? How can I make people consider me? Meanwhile, I'm keeping myself stuck in this position where, like, I want to eat dairy. Like, I want to eat all these different foods that I had all these restrictions from. So, but I keep myself stuck in like this victim mentality. What can you do for me? What can you do for me? A validation. I'm waiting for somebody to validate me. Hey, does this look good? Does this all right? Hey, and You're literally giving them the keys to how you feel about yourself. Same thing with acceptance. Is somebody going to accept me? Is somebody not? And maybe we were always waiting when we were a child for somebody to accept us. When we were living under somebody else's roof, and that meant survival. And now as an adult, we're still doing it because we can survive on our own now. We got cell phones, we got resources, we got 2 legs, we've got our own autonomy. We can go do it. And we're still waiting and handing it to somebody and saying, when you accept me, I'll be okay. I'll be good to go. Money. Money is something that goes up and down. One day you have money, one day you're making money, one day you're not making money. 1 month you have a tough month, and then you literally just gave money. This is how I feel about myself. I don't feel good today because money didn't come to me. Tough, tough, tough when you can go here so easily because something here didn't work out, right? Rather than staying home. And I'm not saying some of these things won't affect you. Of course, if somebody says something rude to you or mean to you, I think it might hit you where it hurts. But you feel it, you release it, you let it go, you come back home. And success, same thing. Success goes up and down. Looks, they fade. Status, who knows where your status can go. And you're literally handing over how you feel about yourself to things outside of you. And in order to let all of that go, we're going to have to forgive. We're going to have to ask for our forgiveness. The best thing in my life was when I gave it all to God, when I was saved. And there was nothing else. I've tried everything. You're talking, I've done all the self-worth work. I tried manifestation. I tried spiritual techniques. I tried everything. And I was still anxious. I was still feeling shameful. I was still unsettled. I was still uncomfortable until I asked for forgiveness from God for everything. Until I set my eyes on God and said, it only matters what God thinks about me. Because here's the thing. People talk about this a lot. Wherever you're at in your journey, even if you're new to this stuff, we've got a lot to talk about here, because what happens is when you let go, forgiveness, I can't tell you how good it feels to just finally feel empty. Like when I tell you, I didn't even know this was possible. When I tell you I don't think about my past anymore, unless it's really triggered, like it'll rarely come up. But I used to be bogged down with my past. But I just gave it all up. I let go of the victim mentality, like, feel bad for me, this happened to me. And like, while all of that stuff did happen to me, like there's empowerment on the other side. So if you watch my other videos, you've heard me talk about child brain versus adult brain. Child brain says, I'm a victim to this life. And adult brain says, I can take control. Like I can take action. There's things I can do about this to feel empowered and to move through it. So letting go is forgiveness. Letting go is releasing the past. Letting go is stepping into empowerment. But most of all, letting go is surrender. I tried to do this life alone for so long. And, people talk about surrender because it gets you to higher vibrations like enlightenment and really that joy. And truth is, like, I don't know what's going on in the world. This is a big world. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of energy going on. There's a lot of moving pieces. And I kept trying to control my own reality. And it worked. Manifestation techniques worked. And all that stuff, it worked. But where was I living? In fear. Because I wasn't standing on a firm foundation. I was literally like just relying on myself. It was heavy. I was anxious. All of the weight was on my chest. It got to the point where like I couldn't even take full breaths. I had these shallow breaths. I was like, I can't even take a full breath because like the weight on my chest was so heavy from trying to do life on my own and control my entire reality and control everything. And there's teachers out there who will tell you like, oh, you can control your reality. You can. You can. Sure. We have free will. But I will tell you that if you want to live here, if you found a way, tell me. I'd like to know about it. But surrender. And surrender looks like all of the things that are going to make us happy because we think other people's approval and validation is going to make us happy. We think the more money is going to make us happy. But really, what's on the other side of the money and of the validation and of all those things that we're seeking are the emotions that we'd like to feel that come from surrendering to God's will. God has a purpose. God has a plan. And it's actually getting up in the morning and being like, tell me what to do. Like, I have no plan. I have no plan because you are the plan. And the only way you can access that inner voice is through healing your trauma, is through healing the darkness in the past. Because over that inner voice, over that inner guidance is layers and layers and layers of trauma that we have to dig through and we have to face. And it's scary. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not. Like, it wasn't easy. But when you dig past all of that, you find this inner voice that's like, follow me, I've got you. I've got you. And that's surrender. Because when you let it all go and when you heal, let's put healing in here. Heal. You get to just give yourself up and say, all I ever wanted was to feel accomplished through the purpose that God had for me. Like, why do you think it is that we feel these feelings of such great accomplishment when we do things that we want to do, the true heart's desires? Like, I took care of myself this morning. I feel so good because those are your true heart's desires, is to take care of your vessel, to live in purpose and to meet a healthy partner and create more healthy life and great life. Like, there's reason for all of this. There's a reason we feel good when it happens. And so when we can truly surrender, good things happen. Amazing things happen. And if you're interested, if you need further support on this, I have a free discovery call in the link in the bio where we talk more on like healing, letting go. And I have a 4-step framework, and it is the pattern breaking method to healing those old limiting beliefs and then being able to shift into new realities and new worlds that feel good and feel right to you. So really, like, the goal is to surrender. The goal is to just let it all go. These are the things you hear humans talk about. How do I let it go? How do I heal? And it is sitting in the silence with yourself. There's no better way than to lock yourself in a room without your phone and face yourself and go through the forgiveness process and say, I've done all these things and I'm not proud of it. And it's hard for me to feel weak and see my weakness. But through all of these emotions and releasing all these emotions, you find the light. You do. And I only know because I've been through it, done it, helped clients, hundreds of clients do it too. And it happens every time. A client I worked with today is starting to feel emotions of gratitude and peace for the first time because he thought there was no other way but suffering. It's the emotions. It's the emotions. The external world is just what it is. This is just extra gifts. But like, this is an inner game, not an outer game. And so you really want to get right with your inner world. And that is your self-worth. Because when you have higher self-worth, what happens? Okay. When you feel good about yourself, okay. When you feel healthy, when you are consistent. Why did I do that? Oh, perfectionism. Okay. When you are consistent, when you're aligned, when you're connected. You don't need anything else. Like, you're full. You're filled up. These are all the things that you want. There are no voids. It is completely full. And what happens when somebody does give you a compliment, instead of getting all uncomfortable because you don't feel worthy of it, you let it in. You say, that's nice. I enjoyed that. That's a gift, right? But it doesn't impact my self-worth because I'm so filled up. I'm so filled up with God. I'm so filled up with through treating myself so well and treating myself so kindly. Like, I'm so complete. And, there is this sense of like, can you get there? Can you really feel that way? And the answer is yes. You see other people doing it. And so that's the only place we're trying to get to, trying to go home. And so when you're so filled up, the money can just come because you're not desperate for it. It doesn't define your worth, and you don't make it a master. You just allow it into your life because you're worthy of it. You accept the higher paying jobs. You put in the work to build the confidence, and you allow the continued pay raises. You end up finding yourself a really nice relationship because you're worthy of that love, because you filled yourself up, because you made yourself feel loved first, because you know what love feels like because you let God love you. Now you know what it feels like. Now I can actually go find a partner that's healthy love. And you start to also get fit. It's the craziest thing. One of my clients came to me, and one of his big blocks was like, I don't feel healthy. I'm not fit. He had all this inflammation. And through doing the self-worth work is what we focused on throughout our 12 weeks together. And through doing the self-worth work, he said, like, his jaw was chiseled. He looked great. And he loved it. And it's because he allowed himself to have that. He released all the trauma that was causing this inflammation and all this stuff going on inside of him. And he let himself be there. He let himself feel healthy. Some people, if they grew up sick or watching people sick, I was having a conversation with a girl one time, and she's like, all I know is illness. And that's a tough one. I get that. But there is a place where you can get to a place where you can believe you can be healthy. Like, what we believe is largely what depicts our reality, what we believe God can do in our lives. And it's crazy. So we're talking health, we're talking relationships, we're talking success, we're talking our spiritual life. And it's not that you don't know how to get it. This world is full of knowledge, full of wisdom. It's rarely that you don't know how. And if you don't, that's a simple solution. Go read a book. But the thing is that we don't allow ourselves to have it in a healthy way. And that comes with the relationship, having a healthy relationship with money. We talk all about that in the Money Expansion Club. I have an entire course dedicating to healing your relationship with money, having a healthy relationship with yourself. And these are all really, like, this is a big deal when it comes to your self-worth and allowing yourself to have the good things in life. My clients, we did 2 rounds of 12 sessions. So we just made it we're going to have our 24th session soon. And he's just getting to the place where he allows himself to be happy because it wasn't safe before. It wasn't how he grew up. It wasn't in his comfort zone. And so when you can harness all of that, you'll finally let all the other stuff in, because otherwise it's foreign. We talk about capacity all the time. Your capacity is what you believe you can have, hold, and maintain. Anything outside of that is a threat to your system. It will sabotage it. Your energy system will even sabotage you, and you'll wake up tired as can be. You can't get yourself to do a dang thing because anything outside that capacity is going to threaten your nervous system, and it's going to sabotage you. So I hope this was helpful. Other videos that I have to explain deeper on, like, breaking down the pattern breaking method and healing. So check out any other videos because they're all really good stuff. But this is the main part to it. And if you are interested in one-on-one coaching or even group coaching or getting access to the course, Everything is down in the description, but you can always comment or message me. Love when you guys chat with me. I would love to chat more. This is it. We'll end with that today. That's all I have for you.